Hey y'all, good evening. It's your legal bestie, attorney Symone, with another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? And today we are breaking down. There are six new lawsuits filed against Diddy, and we're going to discuss them all. Now, don't worry, it's not going to be no super boring episode, because here's the deal. They all have the same intro, but their set of facts is wild, y'all. It is really wild. I see we already got some good questions in the chat. I'm going to make sure I answer those. So Alpha Sings has asked, am I doing court of public opinion tonight? Not tonight. I missed you guys. I have not been on since last Thursday. It has been far too long. So I needed to get caught up tonight on this. Plus this came out. They are going to be on at 8:30 tonight, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, and they're going to be covering a different set of cases. So definitely tune into them too. Also, great question. Donna said, is there any news on the victims of Christian Gold? There is. But what I'm doing is, he's a little squirmy and I don't want him to get out of what's coming up. So I want him to be surprised. I want him to have a little surprise. And so once certain procedural things take place, then I'm going to make sure to get you that update. But yes, I am in touch with the victims regularly. And so things are still flowing. It's still being investigated by the feds. That investigation has not stopped. And it is also possible for the state in Georgia, for local authorities to pick up charges against him as well. Part of the challenge is, as it deals with local authorities in the Christian Gold alleged scam, is that you have to file it either in your county or in the county you think he lives in. And, they live in like Cobb County or something, but some of his other antics happen elsewhere. It's a challenge. But so, yes, there will be an update. Oh, also, Michelle Van Buren has asked, do I handle cases in the U.S. Virgin Islands? I have to say, I'm going to say no. I've never handled one there before. I know that the federal law is the same for there as anywhere else. Here we go. The federal law is the same, but I'm not going to touch it because I haven't done it before. But thank you for asking, which brings me to you guys definitely head over to my website, SymoneRedwine.com, to get a copy of my book, Background Checks 101, a beginner's guide to discovering who the heck you're really dealing with, as well as you can click on the top right, go to Book Symone to schedule a consultation with me about any legal matters across the nation. I do those consultations. They start at $149 for 30 minutes. All right, let me see. Any other questions real quick before we hop right into it? It has been a while. It's been far too long, guys. Buckeye said, I thought it was just me. Hey, Abita, you are here from St. Louis. As usual, thank you so much. Attorney Symone and the Redwiners. Yes, hit that like and hit that subscribe, guys, while you're joining. Clarissa Fletcher said, this Diddy mess just keeps getting messier. It sure does. It is a hot butt mess. So let me see what we're going to start with. This one was just so juicy. We're going to start with this one, actually. Let me share this one. And what's interesting, I want you guys to note that with these, they're all filed as Jane and John Doe's, which I found very interesting. I think it is this one. Hold on one second. There's so many of these. Lord. Come on. There's so many of these cases. Here we go. I think it is EFC. Hold on. Some of these screens, I guess, started timing out because I had them open so long. Here, we're going to do it this way. 772. Just download it. Oh, here they are. Hold on. Here we go. All right, we're going to add this one to the stage. So this is the first one. Now, this is a John Doe case. Put your questions in the chat. Did anyone hear about artist Little Jerome pertaining to Diddy? I have not yet. But y'all, this one is probably going to be the most salacious. I'm going to give you some of the facts from the intro. I'm only going to do that once, though. And that's because the intro is the same for all of these. Now, remember, these are the victims from Tony Busby. I want to make one fact clear. Someone keeps asking, how come they're able to keep filing these lawsuits? Because people thought that there was a window that was closing after Cassie's lawsuit. And I referenced that when I also talked about the Thalia Graves lawsuit. Well, there's another aspect of this law. It's the Gender Motivated Crimes Act, where it opened up a new window in March. And that window, like March 1st, that window is going to close next March 1st. So basically, you are going to continue to see these Diddy lawsuits being filed against him from way back in the day, all the way through to March 1st of 2025. So here in the intro, it says, defendant Combs routinely recruited individuals to parties, drugged them, and assaulted them. The conduct described herein is shockingly typical of the defendant, Sean Combs. He was aided in this abhorrent conduct by numerous individuals and entities. Now, going up to the top, who he has sued, it's Diddy, Daddy's House Recording Studio. I literally spent my 21st birthday there. That was crazy. It was me, Vanessa Mitchell. Was Keenan there from Keenan Kill? I don't remember if Keenan Thompson was there, but it was back in the day when Finesse was on SNL, and it was my 21st birthday, and we were friends because my college, we hired him and had him perform. And I'll never forget, we went and everything was fine. Finesse never let anything happen to me. I'm like his little sister. Everything was fine, but I remember it being super like creepy. It was a very sensual vibe in there, super dark. It had like dark walls. I believe a lot of the walls had like wood paneling in some of the rooms, that kind of thing. Anyway, they have sued Daddy's House Recording Studio because remember that triggers a separate insurance policy. They sued Combs Enterprises, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, and other organizations, John Doe. You're going to see one of the other lawsuits we get into also sues Marriott. They start getting real creative. So it says here, different entities. In paragraph 1, Sean Combs conducted himself for many years as if he was above the law. He is not, it states. This case seeks both compensatory and punitive damages for his assault in the R word. It says for decades, Sean Combs abused, molested, assaulted, threatened, and coerced men, women, and children for gratification. He used dominance and to conceal his abhorrent conduct. He accomplished these acts by and through a criminal enterprise built on his success as a rapper, record producer, and record exec. Combs is one of the wealthiest musical artists in the world. Behind the facade of being a 3-time Grammy Award winner, discovering and developing multiple famous musical artists, and ranking on Forbes' list of the highest paid entertainers in the world, there existed something sinister, a dark underbelly of crime, trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, bribery, and prostitution. Combs is a menace to society, women, and children. While his wealth has kept him above consequence for years, Combs now faces the awesome power of the American judicial system and ultimately a jury of his peers who will be asked to punish him for deplorable conduct described herein. Now, interestingly, the language in here very much tracks the indictment, the criminal indictment. In other words, it looks as though they have written this to kind of help and support the feds. In other words, hey, feds, if you want to interview any of my clients, we're here to help. We're going to hand you this evidence on a silver platter type thing. So watch how the language, how they use criminal enterprise and stuff like that. That on the civil case is how they're going to get the money from the corporate entities in the same way Cassie did. Okay, Combs businesses. Combs business enterprise is central to the pervasive acts of assault and abuse committed by him during the last decades. He operated his businesses headquartered various times in Manhattan and LA under a variety of US-based corporate entities, and then they name them. On the surface of each of these businesses served a legitimate purpose related to entertainment, music, and other subjects, but in reality, Combs, and through his agents, use these businesses to assault, abuse, threaten, coerce hundreds of individuals through sexual quid pro quo schemes, meaning you do this for me, I'll do this for you, as well as to take advantage of individuals with impunity, thinking the victims would never seek recourse. Combs and his agents, employees, contractors through his businesses would tell victims, this is what it takes to be famous. What are you willing to do to become a star? And then perform a sexual act or else to coerce the victim into performing a non-consensual act for gratification. Okay, we got to hold it right there. Y'all, we got over 400 in the chat, and we got like barely we got like 90 likes. So I need y'all to hit that like. Here's what I have an issue with. Is it non-consensual if I tell you you gotta do this thing to me if you want to make it in the industry, and then you do it? I want your vote. I want to see your thoughts in the chat. Is that consensual? Because for me, it's a choice, right? I was raised to be a leader. I'm not talking about where people were drugged. I'm talking about if you tell me, I'm gonna pull my pants down and you gonna tickle my willy if you want this record deal, and or you're not gonna get this deal. I don't see that as coercion. Now, it's inconvenient, it's disgusting, it's a few things. I feel like that's a choice. That person has chosen, I'm gonna tickle the willy so I can get this record deal. But I don't consider that assault, and I don't consider that non-consensual. Now, blackballing people and those things that happen afterwards, those things are terrible, but I still think that that's a choice. So this attorney, Tony Busby, is notorious for believing. Here's what I have an issue with. I think the Me Too movement did a good job of making people feel comfortable coming to the forefront and saying, these horrible things happened to me as a woman. Believe me, and don't just accuse me of asking for it or wearing the wrong thing or those things, right? But what Mr. Busby has done in the past, and this is with the Deshaun Watson lawsuit that I didn't like, is he was suing Watson for asking girls to tickle his willy. I want you to ask me. Ask me if I want to consent to the tickle. And then when I tell you no, if you go on about your business, I'm okay with that. I don't see that as a crime. But what he was suing in part, there were multiple things, but one of the things he was suing Deshaun Watson for was simply asking masseuses to tickle his willy. Now, we all know there are, across America, lots of massage parlors that will tickle your willy for a fee. So my thing is, give me the right to consent. Now, and once I say no, if you go on your way, I don't consider that a crime. What do you guys think? I don't think that that should be actionable. I don't think you should be able to file a civil lawsuit against someone who says, hey, girl, tickle my willy, I'm a millionaire. And then when you don't tickle the willy, he still goes on about his business. We got internet issues. Let's see. Okay. Well, I don't see them on my side, so sorry to hear that. Let's see. Isn't it consent? Is consent? That's a good question. Isn't consent by coercion still illegal? So I think that's some of the conflict is what is considered coercion. For me, my understanding that coercion is when you do things like put something in somebody's drink. That's consent by coercion. When you're coercing someone by threatening them. Now, if there is a threat, if you don't, but to me, the question is it a threat to say, if you don't do this, you won't make it in the music business? That's for a jury to decide. Yes. Oh, and Carmen Lowry made a good point. Part of human trafficking is coercion. Part of human trafficking is coercion. However, that coercion is with threats. It's, I'm going to do something to your family. It's not like, hey, girl, for example, it's not trafficking if you say, come with me and I'm going to buy you a Benz. That's not trafficking. You consented to traveling interstate or performing these acts in exchange for a Benz. Jason said that's seeking consent, isn't it? Isn't that what they should be doing? That's what I thought. And Leslie G says it's a choice because you could have easily said no and gotten the hell out of there. Breezy said, if it's life or death, then that's non-consent. I agree. If you say, if you don't do this, I'm going to hurt you in any way. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do those things. Then absolutely. Oh, thank you guys. Yep. We only got 156 likes. Hit that like. We're going to continue. But I really have an issue with if you tell someone, what are you willing to do to become a star? And your request is for them to perform a S act and they do it. I don't consider that a crime. All right, I'll continue. The Combs business continued. Let me hop down to 7. Combs' pervasive history of S abuse and violence. For years, Combs and his businesses engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards men, women, and minors. The abuse was at times, and I have to say, y'all, I never heard about minors until Mr. Busby and his clients came out. If you had heard about, let me know in the chat if you had heard about minors. I had not. And let me know any examples that you had heard of if you did. So this abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated both men and women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with both commercial sex workers and unsuspecting partygoers. In some cases, there were individuals who were contractors or vendors. In other cases, they were random individuals pulled from a hotel lobby, a show, or off the street. Combs ensured participation um, from these, let's see, in okay. This was a time, let me go back. Combs manipulated both men and women to participate in these both commercial sex workers and unsuspecting partygoers. And some individuals were contractors. In other cases, they were random individuals pulled from a hotel lobby, show, or off the street. Combs ensured participation from these individuals by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them with or without their knowledge, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off sane and using intimidation, violence, and illicit drugs. Now, I'll have to say, when someone is like signed to your record label and then you start saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to terminate your contract. Now, that is sexual harassment. That's workplace sexual harassment, certainly. But my thing is, when I was talking previously, it was more so like, hey, show me what you're going to do show me you're willing to be in the industry, and you go do something nasty. I see that as consensual. All right. Combs, while celebrated for his business acumen and influence in the industry and the world, has often been described in a more troubling light as powerful, manipulative, and problematic. His aggressive tactics, both in business and personal dealings, have drawn criticism, with many viewing him as someone who leverages his power to intimidate and control. This darker side of Combs' persona has been underscored by the numerous lawsuits and allegations that have surfaced over the years. Despite his undeniable success, his rise to the top is marred by a reputation for being ruthless and manipulative. During his influence in many ways that have left a trail of legal and personal controversies, including, but not limited to, the following. Y'all, this is an interesting little timeline. 1999 nightclub shooting incident. Combs was embroiled in a high-profile case related to a nightclub shooting in New York involving his then-girlfriend, J-Lo, and rapper Shine. Combs was acquitted of all charges, though the case remains a significant legal event in his career. Multiple assault allegations. Combs has faced several lawsuits related to alleged physical assaults, many of which have been settled out of court. Business disputes. Combs has been involved in various business-related legal conflicts, particularly surrounding his Sean John clothing line and other ventures. These disputes often involved contractual disagreements and trademark claims. Claims by Cassie Ventura, his former girlfriend. We're familiar with that. And then number 9. Combs particularly fancied the use of popular date R drug Rofinol, or GHB, to commit heinous non-consensual acts of S violence and R onto countless victims. Combs often would secretly use the drug in an alcoholic beverage served at his parties, typically champagne or lemon drops. Partygoers were forced to consume the alcoholic beverage containing GHB either prior to or during while at a Combs party. There are also allegations of Combs dousing victims in lotions or similar body oils laced with GHB so that the drug would be absorbed through the victim's skin and make it easier to assault him or her. In the chat, we have been talking about this. They were talking about how the baby oil, the 1,000 bottles of lube, likely weren't lube. They were likely GHB or it could be oil, baby oil that was laced with GHB. Here we are seeing in print this allegation being filed with the court. Y'all, this is serious. Combs' recurrent and pervasive physical abuse took place for multiple decades. His tendencies of violence and assault were no doubt well known amongst his colleagues, employees, agents, and businesses. On numerous occasions, from at least on or about 1996 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women and men by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. Combs also assaulted children, both physically and we'll get to that. In 96, he was found guilty of criminal mischief for threatening a photographer from the New York Post with a pow pow. In 99, he was arrested and charged with second-degree assault and criminal mischief in connection with assaulting a record exec. Combs was arrested again the same year for his involvement in a pow pow at a club in New York. Another instance of violence occurred at a new LA hotel in honor about March 2016. We know about that one. That's the Cassie incident, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave his hotel room. When security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. In the past year, numerous civil assaults have been filed by him by plaintiffs who allege that they have been abused by him between 91 and 09. In November of 23, 3 lawsuits were filed under the New York Adult Survivors Act. Cassie Ventura, okay, we're familiar with that. We're going to pop down to 13. Joy Dickerson Neal also sued Combs in New York, alleging Combs drugged her, assaulted her, and secretly recorded it in 1991. He likes recording. These recordings are what is taking him down, y'all. The next, 14, Lisa Gardner, whom Combs met at an event hosted by a record label affiliated with Bad Boy, sued him for allegedly R-ing her and a friend in 90 or 91 when she was only 16. In December of 23, an anonymous plaintiff sued him for allegedly drugging and group R-ing her in 2003 when she was only 17 years old. This is one, it was also alleged it was him, Harvey Pierre, and the third assailant, which allegedly is the boyfriend to Thalia Graves. Wait, oh shoot. Yes, hold on. All right, next. This victim alleged that employees and business associates of Combs, through their affiliation with Bad Boy Enterprise, lured her to Combs' home, where Combs then assaulted her. In February, Little Rod, one of Combs' former producers for Combs, sued him for allegedly forcing him to engage in unwanted acts and trafficking, among other allegations. Mr. Combs, alleged that Mr. Combs regularly drugged others, including minors, by giving them drugs laced with ecstasy and other date-R drugs. Mr. Jones alleged that Combs, in fact, drugged him too in order to commit acts. And then in May of 2024, former model Crystal McKinney and April Lampros sued Combs. Miss McKinney alleged that Combs drugged and assaulted her at his studio in 2003. Mimicking what has now become known as a pattern, Combs promised McKinney to help her with her modeling career in exchange for engaging in conduct with him. She was an intern at Arista Records, which was an owner of Bad Boy. That is Miss Lampros, an intern at Arista Records, which was an owner of Bad Boy, also sued Combs in May of 24 in New York Supreme Court for R-ing her on multiple occasions, secretly filming these acts and showing the recordings to multiple people. Ms. Lampros also alleged Combs ordered her to take drugs on one occasion before he R-ed her. In July, former adult star Adria English, who was employed by Combs as an entertainer at his infamous white parties that brought together the biggest names in the music and entertainment industry, sued Combs, alleging that he required her to consume drinks laced with ecstasy and secretly recorded the acts. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the client of attorney Ariel Mitchell Kidd, where Ariel Mitchell Kidd withdrew from that case. Miss Thing, I think this is the woman, she went on Tasha K, decided to interview with Tasha K and tell on her business. That's always never a good idea. All right. It says, yep. Oh, can we get these likes up to 300, 311? Because we've only got 211 likes. Let's get 100 more likes in there, please, guys. All right. C. Griffin said, it seems he had a lot of people with tendencies like him that were participating allegedly. All right. All right. Then we've got, these are the lawsuits I've covered before. The next they talk about Don Richard also sued Combs. Richard was employed by him in the group Danity Kane. I'm going to pop down that in September, a federal grand jury in Manhattan indicted Combs and charged him with trafficking, racketeering, and the creation of a criminal enterprise in which he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, to protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. The indictment explains that Combs' abuse of women and minors was enabled by, no, hold on. I don't believe that's accurate in number 20. It says the indictment explains that Combs' abuse of women and minors. I do not believe that the indictment references minors. No, the first hearing that I had of minors was from Tony Busby at the press conference. Let me know if y'all have heard something different. Hold on one second. Where did that just go? Yeah. Yeah, I didn't hear no minors. Ugly whispers. Ugly whispers in mama turn him young. Ooh. Yeah, no. It needs to be sued for all of this. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Now, it says enabled in that the acts were enabled by the employees' resources and influence of the multifaceted enterprise business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, as trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Combs' long history of violence unequivocally establishes that his actions are motivated by gender, both men and women. Combs has a profound contempt for women. He sure does. Order in the court. That is true. Contempt for women and a desire to dominate both minors and other men. I would definitely say dominating men. I'm still wrapping my mind around these minors' allegations. Not saying they didn't happen. I'm just saying I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that disgustingness. It says his conduct shows a long-standing practice of denigrating, defeating, and attempting to humiliate men, women, and children. His practices and desires are different from men, women, and children, but his actions are unequivocally motivated by the victim's particular gender and age. Plaintiff's allegations herein substantially mirror Combs' prior conduct as established through criminal indictments and other lawsuits. Through this case, plaintiff seeks a full measure of justice from a man who thought his power, money, and influence rendered him untouchable. Plaintiff joins many other victims by filing this complaint and hopes their common voice makes it impossible for Combs to assault another person ever again. All right. So now the parties, we're going to skip past that. This one is a John Doe. This one is a man. Okay. And in the party section, they're just laying out who all he's suing. We jump into the facts, baby, because these facts. All right. Factual allegations are going to start. The other stuff, y'all, is just legalese. It's not juicy. It's not no legal tea, Factual allegations starting at 34. Plaintiff worked for Royal Reigns Management, a prestigious company based out of New York City with additional offices in New York and Atlanta. Through plaintiff's industry connections, he gained access to parties associated with Combs and Bad Boy Entertainment. One party took place in or around October 2021. These connections and invitation ultimately led to life-altering. That was my gavel. Sorry. Life-altering and traumatic experiences for plaintiff. Combs businesses picked plaintiff up from the airport and transported him to New York City, where the party was to take place. Upon arrival, plaintiff noticed several well-known artists in attendance. Plaintiff was immediately offered what he was told was ecstasy by associates of Combs' businesses, which plaintiff refused. Plaintiff limited himself to just one drink. Even though plaintiff only consumed one alcoholic drink, the effects of the drink were immediate and overwhelming. This behavior, chose plaintiff, mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents and employees drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to assault that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of an exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Look at that. I've never seen that before. It doesn't quite look like a funnel. It looks phallic. It almost looks like a phallic symbol, but this is what allegedly was used to put the drugs into a drink. I'm curious to find out how they obtained it, how they obtained that photo, and if the photo was from one of the victims. We'll keep reading. Plaintiff soon became disoriented, and the room started spinning. In a state of confusion, he attempted to remove himself from the situation, seeking a safe space. As plaintiff tried to leave, a male voice told him, "Hold on," and he promised to help him. Next thing plaintiff remembers is being in a bedroom. Despite being vaguely aware of his surroundings, he could not move, speak, or fight back. Plaintiff was paralyzed, feeling as if he was trapped in his own body. Multiple men began to assault him through, butt acts and other forced acts. He distinctly recalls seeing Combs above him naked at one point during the assault. During this time, plaintiff was bottomed done to the bottom by at least 3 men. Lord have mercy. Plaintiff could feel a difference in the size of the men when he was being attacked, further confirming the presence of multiple attackers. Plaintiff continues to attend therapy to address the trauma from these experiences. Now that's just the first one. That's just up. We've only got 272 likes. Can we get 600 likes? We've got over 600 people in this chat. Y'all, that sounds terrible. This is another one. This is a different one. All right. This is another John Doe. Let me look at the case number. Hold on. Yes, this is a different John Doe. I'm just reading the facts section. We don't need that intro stuff. We don't need all that. The way my ADD is set up, we got to get to it, y'all. All right. This John Doe says in 2008, plaintiff worked as an advisor for Echo Clothing and had been employed by the company for approximately 7 years. Echo Clothing at the time was among the most popular clothing lines in the country. Hold on. So what this is saying is he's not just doing this to models or S workers that he hired, to do things at the party. He's doing this to professionals. Nobody is safe. It says in 2008, Combs' Sean John clothing line was also hitting peak popularity. Plaintiff had, in fact, met Combs several times in connection with Combs' development and marketing of Sean John clothing line. Echo and Sean John were competing lines within the industry, both having a large amount of success within the hip-hop community. Moreover, both lines had relationships with and were carried at the same time by Macy's, a well-known department store. In or around May of 2008, plaintiff was in the stock room at Macy's flagship store at Herald Square in Manhattan when Combs and 3 of his bodyguards entered the stock room. Plaintiff came upon Combs and his bodyguards at a T-junction in the stock room where plaintiff had very little room to maneuver. Combs was flanked by the 2 large bodyguards to the left and 1 to the right. Immediately after turning a corner in the stock room, plaintiff was hit hard at the base of his neck, possibly with a pistol. The blow forced plaintiff to his hands and knees. As plaintiff looked up, he saw that each of the bodyguards had guns in their wristbands. Plaintiff heard multiple voices call out things like, "I'll kill you." Combs approached plaintiff while plaintiff was still on his hands and knees and said, "Suck my D, Echo," referring to the clothing line that plaintiff worked for. Combs thereafter forced his pee into plaintiff's mouth and proceeded to forcefully and brutally attack him. Oh my gosh. Combs continued for at least 2 minutes until it exploding out in the man. Oh my God. While orally doing this to the man, Combs grabbed plaintiff's hair and made derogatory comments like, "You like that? You like that, white boy?" Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. After he was finished, Combs threw plaintiff's head to the side and said words to the effect of, "Shut up or I'll kill you." Combs and his bodyguards began to leave, taunting plaintiff as they did. Combs proceeded to gather Sean John merchandise from the stockroom. He left the stockroom and headed out to the Macy's retail floor, where he began passing out merchandise to an adoring crowd as if nothing had happened. In shock and traumatized, plaintiff gathered himself and went to Macy's security to report the assault. By this point, Combs and his bodyguards had left the store. Plaintiff was told that someone would speak with him, but no one ever did. Shortly thereafter, Macy stopped letting plaintiff into the store. Approximately 3 weeks later, Terry Longford, CEO of Macy's, pressured Echo executives to fire plaintiff because Macy's had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John Clothing. Echo, thereafter, terminated plaintiff from employment, and plaintiff was told he could no longer live in his company-paid apartment. That's huge for New York. Plaintiff is informed and believes that the report of the assault was destroyed or otherwise purged from Macy's records, and no action was ever taken as a result of the report. Plaintiff ultimately had to move out of New York. Plaintiff still fears for his life as a result of the incident and the threats made against him on that day, including the fact that plaintiff was known to Combs by way of his work with the rival company, Echo. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, child. Oh, yes. So Macy's was sued here. Let me go to that first page. So where we could see here, Sean John. Let me see. Was Macy's in this one? Sean John Entertainment Holdings. Da, 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 da. They did not add Macy's to the top of this one, but I bet you if they had not already, they are going to amend it. Ooh, wee. Let me see. Let's look at the parties here. You got Bad Boy, Bad Boy, Bad Boy, Bad Boy entities. Macy's, yes. So they actually made a bit of a mistake. They added Macy's here, but they did not add Macy's to the headline. They probably used the same headline because there are going to be hundreds of plaintiffs. So they used the same case caption and just did not list Macy's, which is a big mistake. They can still sue and recover from Macy's. It's 28. Defendant Macy's Inc. is domestic. Da 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 da. Yeah, they named Macy's. Oh my gosh. It's the last one on the first page. Okay, wait. But when I go to the first page, hold on. What I'm saying. Oh, you're right. You're right. It is. And Macy's. Okay, you're right. It's there. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, Carmen, thank you so much for that. Carmen says, thank you so much for the super chat. It's alleged that the ex-boyfriend of Thalia Graves is Devontae Swing. Do I know anything about that? Also, the S worker on the soft white belly spoke about minors at a Diddy freak off party. Thank you, Carmen. I was not aware of that. Okay. Oh, that it was divine. I'm going to look into that. I absolutely will. Lord have mercy. Okay. My mind is just, I wasn't ready for it. Were y'all expecting that? All right. It says, can I do a members only and tell us the tea on Christian? You know what? I think it's an excellent idea. Christy, yes. Hold on. Member, yes. Yes, I can. Actually, I'm going to get permission from everybody who's tea on, but I think that's an excellent idea. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Macy's can be sued. Here's why. Because the statute of limitations reopened under the New York Survivors Act, the Victims Act, and so forth and so on, there is until we're going to see these lawsuits and people can keep filing them until March of 2025. Okay. And the way the law is structured is anyone who aided and assisted here, Macy's is considered aiding and assisting based on these facts for aiding and assisting and preventing this victim from getting justice, right? Because the report disappeared, Macy's ended. Hey guys, sorry about that. I am back. So I'm back. It looks like my power went out. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. I want to make sure you guys can see me back on here. Woo. Yeah, they didn't want me spilling that tea. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Great. You can hear me. All right. And can you see me as well? There we go. Can you see me as well? All right. I'm going to put up the next case on the screen. We've got so much going on here. Yep. So that one was Macy's. We did the other one. Hold on. And we're going to do a little blurry. Okay. Sorry about that. Here we go. But we've got, here we go. I'm going to add the next one. Lord, these it just keeps getting juicier and juicier. Here we are. We've got 78. Let me just add all these. Hold on. Child. I was just shook. I was not expecting that. I was expecting more of like more of the same, basically, more of the same stuff that we had been seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, let me add the other one. We get 72. And here we are. And 76. Did we already do 74? All right, then let me see. Did we do? And then this one was the Jane Doe. I think this is the one we had just done. Let's go to this. Oh, these facts. All right, this one. Okay, now this one is here's another. Okay, this is a new one. This one is a John Doe, I believe, here as well. Yes, John. All right, this one, it says Mr. Combs' legendary white parties in the Hamptons were well known by many, including John Doe. This is the 16-year-old, y'all. This one is the 16-year-old, including by John Doe. This is the kind where countless celebrities would attend. In 1998, when John Doe was only 16 years old, he was recruited out of New York City. Okay, why are you recruiting a 16-year-old to go to a grown-up, all-white, 21 and up adult party? That's suspicious. It says, and indeed, while residing in New York City, received an invitation to one of Combs' parties through mutual connection. When he received the invitation, he felt like he finally had the opportunity to rub shoulders. Here we go. Somebody say, I can tell you he didn't proofread the files prior to signing on, not the babies. Yes. It says, here we go. It says, he felt like he finally had the opportunity to rub shoulders with the who's who of the industry. He thought it would be his chance to break into the music industry. Others from New York City received such invitations to go to the Hamptons for the party. Indeed, many of those at the party were in fact New Yorkers. The party took place at Combs Mansion in the Hamptons. As John Doe entered, he spotted countless celebrities and A-listers who formed the music and entertainment industry. He recognized faces he had seen on TV and on the big screen. As John Doe made his way through the crowd towards the restroom, he unexpectedly bumped into Combs. Shocked, John Doe found himself face to face with Combs, a titan in the music industry, standing right in front of him at his own party. Doe took a picture with Combs. Y'all, this is the picture. It's a little white boy as well. Ah, looks like Diddy likes some white. It says Combs took an interest in John Doe and wanted to talk to him. They walked to a more private area near the portable restrooms brought in for the party. There, John Doe told Combs he was a big fan of Combs and shared his dreams of becoming a star. Combs smiled, telling him he had potential and the look. When John Doe admitted his voice was not great, Combs assured him that didn't matter, i.e. Cassie. Combs made clear that the only thing that mattered was having the right look for the industry, and with it, Combs could transform Doe or anybody, i.e. Cassie, into a star. Despite the pleasant conversation which occurred, things took an unexpected turn for the worse. Combs abruptly told John Doe that he needed to drop his pants. John Doe, caught completely off guard, confusingly asked Combs to repeat himself. Combs made himself clear. He instructed John Doe to drop his pants and expose his Peter so that Combs could expect it, explaining it was a rite of passage and the route to becoming a star, and also as a way to prove himself. Quote, don't you want to break into the business? Doe immediately felt uncomfortable, froze, and did not know what to do. Keep your pants up, baby. Keep your pants up. It says Combs remained calm and stood in front of him, stretched out his hands in a cup positions out of fear and anxiety in the imbalanced power dynamic between himself and Combs. John Doe then dropped his pants and exposed his Peter as Combs previously instructed. Combs moved closer and grabbed John Doe's Peter and his genitals with his hand. He firmly cupped and held onto John Doe's genitals for an extended period of time. During this time, Combs moved his hand in such a fashion to manipulate the Peter, squeezing and feeling it. Doe was only 16. Combs abruptly then let go of Joe's Peter and told him that people would be in touch. Combs continued with his party as if nothing had happened. But for John Doe, everything had changed. John Doe eventually recognized Combs assaulted him by and through his power and influence over John Doe because he knew John Doe wanted to become a star. As a result of Combs' Assault onto Doe while he was a minor. Doe experienced damages, including pain, suffering, mental anguish, physical impairment, and emotional torment. The interaction continues to humiliate. Let me see. Humiliate and cause shame on John Doe. Because of Combs' power and notoriety, plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. Doe had become yet another assault victim of Combs through the same pattern of abuse and influence Combs exercised over others previously. Oh my gosh. So see, he's a child. He can't consent. He can't consent. And also, just because someone like tells you drop your pants, I don't necessarily think they're gonna cup it. Like, I'm not really sure. If that happened to me at 16, I don't know what I would do. Uh-uh. Y'all, oh, we're 20 likes away from 400. Let's get those likes in. Oh gosh. All right, we're gonna hop over. So that was the 16-year-old. This is a Jane Doe. And here, guys, I'm just going over the facts. I already did the intro. We're familiar with that. We're going over the facts here of these new victims. And at the end, I want you guys to tell me, what do you think? Or do any of these sound more believable than others? Do they all sound fairly consistent to you guys? So far, they sound like the same type of power plays. I found it interesting that those two male victims so far were both white boys. That was really interesting. I wonder if he felt like, oh, no one's going to believe you. How dare you tell? Like, so it sounds like he is an equal opportunity assaulter, which is so disgusting in its own way. All right. Now, this one is a Jane Doe. Jane Doe says Combs and his staff regularly invited members of the public to events such as music video shoots, photo shoots, autograph signings in and around New York. One such event took place in 2004 across the street from Jane Doe's college campus in Brooklyn. Through Miss Doe's friends and Combs' accomplices and agents, Miss Doe received an invitation to Combs' photo shoot. She was 19 years old at the time. She was flattered and excited to receive such an invitation from an individual of Combs' celebrity and stature. Totally understand. That's totally believable for a 19-year-old, okay? Miss Doe accompanied her friends to the event and discovered it was a photo shoot promoting the band. I remember that. I had a friend that was one of the members of the band. Okay. A recording group Combs signed to his label, Bad Boy Entertainment. At the photo shoot, she and one of her good friends, another freshman living in the dorm with Miss Doe, were eventually invited to an after party by Combs' business associates. Before leaving for the party, Miss Doe had met Combs at the photo shoot. Combs told Miss Doe and her friend that they should come to his hotel first for a more exclusive party. Miss Doe and her friend agreed and were taken to a Manhattan area Marriott hotel. This is how Marriott gets involved, by a member of Combs' entourage. Who the keeps calling me? Please leave me alone. Sorry, guys. I have this on Do Not Disturb and it's disturbing me. What the hell? Sorry. Number 36. Upon arriving at the hotel suite, Miss Doe noticed that there were a dozen people there having drinks and listening to music in a relaxed party environment. While attempting to mingle around the party, Miss Doe and her friend were suddenly grabbed and taken to a separate room from the main party. Miss Doe believed the man taking them to be a security guard, so she went with him. But when she asked him where they were going, he simply told her, "You know what you're here for." Jesus. After taking Miss Doe and her friend to the bedroom, the security guard left the room and locked the door. The only person in the room besides Miss Doe and her friend was Combs. Combs gave Miss Doe and her friend more drinks than instructed them to inhale white girl, y'all know what I mean, that he had prepared for use on the coffee table. Miss Doe did not want to do the white girl. Combs continued getting gradually more aggressive with the two women and eventually began forcibly touching them without consent. When they resisted, Combs ordered Miss Doe's friend to perform oral on him or else he would have them both killed. Miss Doe's friend complied. As Miss Doe begged Combs to allow them to leave, he did not agree. It sounds odd, but at this point, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Combs soon turned his sights on Miss Doe and forced her to take her clothes off, again under the threat of violence. Once she was undressed, Combs forced himself on her and began to assault her. He fondled and other things and ultimately took advantage of her, all while she was begging him to stop. Soon, and likely due to Miss Doe's cries, the door opened and the security guard from earlier came in to ask if everything was all right. Miss Doe's friend took the opportunity to rush out of the recently locked door. Was she clothed, I wonder? Miss Doe, however, could not move as Mr. Combs was still on top of her. Did she run out naked? Combs got off of Miss Doe to talk to the security guard. He left the room. Yes, he left the room, but told Miss Doe to stay. Otherwise, she would be killed. After about a half an hour of sitting in the dark room by herself, another security guard came and told her she could leave. Miss Doe gathered her things and left immediately and called a taxi back to her dorm in downtown Brooklyn. Oh my word. All right, I want y'all's thoughts on that one. I wonder if it was one of the security guards that's being very vocal now. There's Roger and then there's Jean. I wonder if it was either of them. I'm curious if either of those female victims, if they had seen him, would they recognize him? I'm so curious. And also, let me just confirm that Marriott, I'm pretty sure they sued Marriott. I don't see it. Yep, they sued Marriott as well in that one. All right, we got two more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we got two more left. All right. Now this one, lordy. What do you think? Somebody said, is he terrorizing New York? Sounds like a horror film. This is mentally motivated. It's totally mentally motivated. It sounds like, the Real People Consulting, you're with me. Do this or I'll kill you. That just seems, he may have said something threatening, and maybe with all the years by, she can't remember exactly what he said, but to say, do this or I'll kill you, it sounds difficult to believe, given that the other people left the room. There's a whole party going on next door. Ugh. Yeah, okay, now we had already done this one. Yeah, that one. No, here we go. It was this one. All right, so we do only have two left. This is wild. Hold on. All right. Here we are. Now, this one is a Jane Doe, I believe, again. It says Sean Jones' white parties. Let me just make sure. Yes, okay. Sean Combs' infamous white parties were legendary events known for their exclusivity, extravagance, and strict dress code, where attendees were required to wear all white. These high-profile parties, particularly those held at Combs' estates in the Hamptons, attracted A-list celebrities from across the entertainment, fashion, and business world. The events were lavishly decorated, featured live music performances, and boasted top-tier food and beverages. The atmosphere at these parties was one of opulence and luxury, often making headlines for their celebrity guest list, over-the-top entertainment, and the stunning aesthetics of the event. Many unsuspecting individuals were recruited to attend these parties. Some of the recruitment took place in Manhattan. Again, this is true. I experienced this. If you heard me speak previously about my gay boyfriend that was a Diddy sex worker, he used to get picked up. They would send a car service for him in the city, and it would take him out to wherever these little sex parties were taking place. It says many individuals were also recruited in LA and were paid to fly in and attend these functions. In 2006, plaintiff was employed by a security firm, Mass Security, where he provided security services for nightclubs and private events. In August of that year, plaintiff accepted a last-minute job at Combs' East Hampton property, which he believed was hosting an exclusive white party for a large, affluent crowd. Plaintiff noted that the guests arrived in luxury vehicles, and many appeared to be executives. Upon plaintiff's arrival, he was greeted by Combs, the event's host, who expressed interest in meeting all staff members. During their interaction, Combs offered plaintiff another job opportunity working security, which plaintiff ultimately declined due to his father's severe illness and the challenges of relocating. Combs appeared sympathetic to plaintiff's situation and understanding of his decision. As the event progressed, Combs targeted plaintiff and provided him with 2 alcoholic drinks throughout the night. After consuming the second drink, plaintiff began to feel extremely ill and leaned against his truck for support. Based on information and belief, Combs, by himself or through his agents and employees, previously laced the drink with drugs, including but not limited to GHB and or ecstasy. This behavior towards plaintiff mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents and employees drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to assault that person. Unfortunately, Plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of an exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Okay, this is the same one as in the first one that we are now on the fifth case. This is the fifth case that I'm talking about. We got one more tonight. It says Combs approached him again, inquiring about his well-being and displaying what plaintiff initially interpreted was concern. However, he soon found himself being forcibly pushed into an open van by Combs, an act that left him in considerable pain. Once in the van, plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him. You're supposed to be security. Hold on. I'm sorry. Overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs. Okay, drugs. Okay, I'm getting it. In a horrific turn of events, Combs assaulted him by inserting his Peter into plaintiff's bottom, all while dismissing plaintiff's pleas for help by repeatedly saying, "You'll be all right." After the assault, Combs left plaintiff in the van and proceeded back to the party. Plaintiff struggled to leave the party due to the drugs he believed to be in his system from the, quote, alcoholic drinks Combs provided. As plaintiff was leaving the party, he experienced a disturbing sensation as a lubricant-like fluid leaked from his bottom, which he believed to be semen, cum, causing him profound disgust. When plaintiff finally managed to leave the scene and return home, he informed his supervisor of the incident. Upon arriving home and showering, plaintiff noticed even more cum discharge, which intensified his feelings of violation and revulsion. In the aftermath of the assault, plaintiff struggled with intense emotional pain and mental health issues, of course, feeling disgusted and deeply depressed. Plaintiff has experienced a significant impact on his personal life. He is never married and often struggles to maintain relationships due to the assault. Plaintiff described himself as an all-American guy, yet acknowledges that not a day goes by without thoughts of the traumatic event. Ugh. Just deplorable. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely. Hold on. 8, 7. Hold on. There's one more. Hold on. There's one more. 7, 4. Here we go. One more that we are going over tonight. Lord have mercy. Somebody says, I want to see this go to trial. Let me tell you something. I don't see this man taking a plea, but more than that. So I want you guys to recognize these that we're hearing, the indictment was not based on a single one of these, not one of these, but it could be, So remember, they are saying, excuse me, that more indictments are to come. I would not be surprised if it's victims such as these, their accounts of events that are going to lead to these additional indictments. Can we hit that like button, please? If you have not hit it already. Abita just said, I need a drink. I've been doing sober October. Yeah, this will definitely make you want to have something, a drink, a beverage, or any of the above. All right, so this one, okay, this is the last one that we're going to cover. This is the last of the 6 that has just been filed. I hope you guys like how I just jumped into the facts, because that's really what we care about. We know that the backstory at this point, we all know about this backstory. And again, I went over the backstory. If you're joining us later, I went over the backstory in that first one. If you're just joining the chat, don't forget to hit that like. Yes, thank you so much. It says so many people aided Diddler in the ongoing planning, plotting, and participation for these parties. I also wonder, the gentleman who was attacked at Macy's, I wonder which of the bodyguards it was. Because, baby, those bodyguards, those are the ones the feds need to be indicting as co-conspirators. Anybody who would co-conspire, don't you give that person a deal. Don't give them ish. Maybe you can give them a deal where if they're going to tell you more, instead of getting 50 years, they get 30 or 20. Okay, we can talk about that. But they need to go to jail right with the diddler. Oh, great point. See, Proactive always has great points. She said, and clearly no protection was worn. You nasty neat. But there is also a rumor that he has some type of a disease. And so part of that rumor is part of the reason that he wanted the docket sealed. Diddy wanted the docket sealed is because they're going to be making reference to his health issues, his health concerns. Because part of the bail package, the revised bail package, those documents were sealed to my understanding. It was either that or something else. I'm pretty sure it was the bail document. And so people think that it may be referencing some of his health issues, and that some of those health issues may be related to some type of disease that this nasty man might have. All right, so here's the last lawsuit we're going to talk about for tonight. It's this one is a Jane Doe. All right, in or around June of 95, plaintiff attended a promotional party at Elks Plaza in New York City for the music video One More Chance by Biggie Smalls. Oh, damn, that was a long time ago. Shoot. That's almost 30 years ago, bless her heart. The event was packed with high-profile guests. While plaintiff was dancing with friends, Combs approached her and asked to speak with her privately. Expecting an innocent conversation, she agreed and followed him. Once alone in a bathroom, Combs unexpectedly began kissing her. Feeling uncomfortable and confused, plaintiff asked him to slow down, believing they were there to talk. Totally believable, I could see that. Instead, Combs advanced aggressively. When plaintiff attempted to pull away, he violently struck her, slamming her head into the wall, causing her to fall to the floor. Disoriented and in pain, plaintiff tried to escape, but Combs hit her again, making it nearly impossible for her to move. Combs then lifted her dress and hurt her, you know what I mean, while she lay helpless on the floor. Plaintiff tried to resist, but her injuries and shock left her powerless. After the assault, Combs adjusted his clothing in a nonchalant manner and threatened plaintiff, saying, "You better not tell anyone about this or you'll disappear," leaving plaintiff terrified for her life. Combs left the bathroom, abandoning her in a state of shock, fear, and shame. Plaintiff remained on the bathroom floor for a while, trying to regain her composure. Plaintiff felt intense pain in her head from the blows and was emotionally shattered. After some time, she managed to stand, fix her undies and dress, and wipe away her tears. Terrified that someone from Combs' business might be waiting outside to harm her, plaintiff cautiously gathered the courage to leave the bathroom. Plaintiff left the party and never returned. Since the assault, plaintiff has avoided the news as it triggers traumatic memories. For years, plaintiff kept this a secret, fearing retaliation from Combs' businesses. Y'all. Somebody said, RPC says, I can't conceive of how these people just walked away with a few coins and didn't file a report to the police in real time. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about that. Let me just shift some of this so I can get comfortable and we can really talk about that. So, sorry. Sorry. Let's talk about that. Because part of this, and hit that like, guys, please go ahead and hit that like. Part of this is, okay, I understand. So let's go back to the guy that was working in the Macy stockroom. Yeah, you filed a report with Macy's, but you should have called the Popos. Of course, Macy's is going to cover their butt. Of course. And also, like, after so I'm not victim blaming. I'm just like processing, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about, these are the questions that the jury's going to want to know. The jury's going to want to know about all this. I'll drop a link in case anyone wants to call in and make a comment. Hold on. I'm going to drop that link right here if you're interested. Mods, I don't know if you're able to pin this, but if you are, you can turn your video off. You don't have to show your face. But yeah, like the Macy's guy, at least he made a report with the store, but I wouldn't expect a Macy's report to go super far. Why? Because Macy's is at fault in this too. So I could see Macy's covering their butt, but I would go to the police and be like, hey, police, I also did a report with Macy's. So if Macy's going to act funny, especially once you got your job involved and oh, no, we need to tell the Popo and let the Popos know, hey, I immediately told Macy's. I would tell the police before anyone else, especially if I'm fearful of Diddy and these people. But I hear victims all the time. You watch the crime stories, they say, I was scared to go to the police. For me, I feel like the police is the one place I wouldn't be scared to go. But at the same time, somebody said, I wonder who gave Puff the alleged bumps. Girl, at the same time, I can understand, depending on what the threats were, how much he knows you or what have you, the fear. Because remember, this was the height of his power and celebrity. Yep. Can we get those likes? This is the height of it. Desiree is making a great point. Desiree said, yeah, but the police were covering stuff up for him too. And I think that is a great point, Desiree, because we have to remember who was also serving as security at these Diddy parties? The police. They literally get paid. So it's considered like approved overtime, like it's not considered overtime because it's not from the police department, but it's approved work. Like people will come and hire police officers to work their private events all the time. And you better believe, I bet he had preferred cops that he liked. And for those cops, hey, if you get a choice of, you get to cover the homeless shelter up the street or a Diddy party, they pick in the Diddy party. Yes. Oh, Healthy Bump Club says acute trauma. You can't predict your response to acute trauma. No, that is absolutely true. Yes. Want to sound off on today's topic? You're welcome to click the link and just give me your comments. Again, you don't have to show your face. You can come in and turn off the camera. Also, you can schedule a consultation with me. Go to SymoneRedwine.com. Here we go. SymoneRedwine.com. The link is right here. You can also feel free to hit the Cash App, Miss Redwine, to just drop a little tip in there. The police work for him, Rachel Jones said. Yeah. Threats were real. I can't fully judge them. I agree. Why does the juice match your dress? It does match my dress. Puff was probably paying off so many people. Had to have been. And this quid pro quo for a career was over their head. Yeah, because if you think about it, it's all the people that he dated and he was mostly associated to, their careers weren't nothing while they were with him at all. He clearly kept Cassie's career down. So, all right. So we're getting late. I don't see anyone else in the chat with any questions for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. There are more things I wanted to cover. We've got, let's see, there's DJ Mustard. There's the Kanye West lawsuit. It's just a lot. Drop below. Somebody said, Lovely Beauty said, indict the NYPD. Drop below what other topics you want me to cover right now. But we are going to keep watch. There should be amended indictments coming through, more offenses, more crimes. And the appeals court is, again, evaluating whether or not he should get bail. Now, I think with these allegations out there, these allegations, again, they're not currently part of the indictment, but I would not be surprised if we see it amended to add these. It says, oh, I think we got someone. Here we go. Let's see who we got. All right, Afra. All right, what do you want to add?
Oh, I'm already on. Hey, Symone, my
Hey, girl.
bestie. This is so triggering because, I sing and I've been involved with people, in the industry over the years. And I just, I just think about times that I was invited to things and, when I couldn't make it and I felt like I was missing out. And then other people associated, like, when I was pursuing like a major label deal, other people associated with Diddy or others that I had some kind of dealings with. And I mean, there's just like, there's big people like him, but there are people that no one really even knows. And like anybody in those spheres, they're constantly, like there's just a lot of opportunism and people looking to take advantage or abuse, or exploit artists in so many ways. And so, like, all of these things that they're talking about, it's just like, it sounds unbelievable in some ways, but then I'm like, no, it's also very believable because there are people with absolutely nothing that I encountered that, were just that slimy.
Absolutely. Yep. And I want to say thank you so much to Carmen Lowry for this super chat. It says, statistically speaking, most SAs do not end in a guilty verdict, but you definitely get revicted. That is such an important point to make, Carmen.
Yeah.
I didn't know that myself. I did not know that most don't end in a guilty verdict, but that is crazy. Well, I really appreciate you joining us, Afra. My signal is deplorable over here for some reason. So we're going to close out today. Tune back in tomorrow and check back this week. I am releasing the story time for you guys this week, and I will schedule a members only where I can drop that tea on Christian Gold this week. Let's say Thursday. I'll have that for you guys by Thursday, and I'll definitely announce it. Thank you all for joining me, and y'all have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Symone.
Thanks.